Hey kids! Thanks for joining me for part 3 of the Art of Pixar lesson. As you can see, I am swimming in the Great Barrier Reef. You're probably wondering why. Well, remember last week you finished up your character design. Now you need to think about setting. So I will tell you all about it next. The last couple of weeks, we took a tour of Pixar Animation Studios, and then you finished up your character design. Now, for this week, to close it all off, we're going to think of a setting. Now, remember, my character is a robot, and as you can see, I don't think an underwater setting would be good for him, unless he had some really cool force field, which I could design. But you know what? I think I need to go up out of here and then think of another setting to do. So hold on, let me swim up. Wow, that swim was great. Nothing beats a good refreshing swim in the Great Barrier Reef. Now that I'm out of there, I want to share with you what we're going to do today. But first, before we do that, I found another fantastic clip from the artists at Pixar. There's so many clips that I can't share them all, but this is a good one about spacing and perspective. Watch this, and then I will cover what you're going to do for this week's activity.
In the last 2 videos, we talked about how line and shape are used to support storytelling. We also use visual language to create a sense of space. If you look at this photograph, you can see how the parallel lines of the walkway appear to get closer together as they move further away. Also, the closest balls are lower in the frame and appear far apart, while the ones in the distance appear closer together in frame and are obviously much smaller. We mimic these attributes in our storyboarding to create the illusion of depth. This is known as linear perspective. By positioning the vertical lines, we can create the illusion of space or depth, like a road receding into the distance. By using heavier weight at the bottom of the frame and lighter weight towards the top of the frame, we can make it look like they're getting further away. We add to the illusion using the location of elements within the frame, placing things higher to make them appear further away. Using location as a depth cue is even more effective when we combine it with size differences, making things smaller to make them appear further away. Let's take a look how the illusion of space is created in our storyboards and concept art.
I really like this image. I love this sequence of storyboards. This is when the house floats up, and the way that he created depth in the 2D plane is by giving a vanishing point in the background. So 1-point perspective is basically showing depth at a single point. So let's say you look here at this point, and that's your vanishing point, and then you'll have a horizon line that goes across there, and then all of your lines converge at that one point. So if you look over here, this line coming down towards there, as well as that line which comes towards there, and then these lines coming towards there, and this one coming towards there, and everything sort of points to that, and it gives you an easy way to see how forms will look in the distance. So if you look at this car, usually when you start off, you want to start with just blocks because it's really easy to see it that way. So this is a block, and then this is a block here, and as you can see, it gets smaller and smaller. So you have these geometric shapes that are really simple, even up until the largest buildings here. They're all just simple geometric shapes.
This is a great image, a concept art from The Incredibles, where we see Bob. Now he's no longer a superhero, and he's working in an office building as an insurance person. One thing that I really love about the image is that everybody gets a cube, and Bob, this amazing guy who's supposed to be a superhero, gets the one cube with the giant pillar in it. So space is described as like there's an emotional component where we talk about how he is not doing what he's supposed to be doing, and he's not free to do what he wants to do, and the space is telling us that he's compressed. This giant guy is compressed in this tiny little space, and is sort of almost imprisoned by the space that we see here.
Now, our compositional elements in this panel from Cars 3 really help us achieve a sense of space. This curve that's happening in the distance, because we know that these gridded patterns in the artist's mind are of equal length, really give us a sense of movement around this curve. They give us a sense of space as these bigger versions of that shape recede into smaller versions around the curve. Again, directionals, we have boxes that feel stagnant, maybe slower than Lightning McQueen, who's a more dynamic shape. But we've also got them all aiming towards Lightning McQueen, so we know where to look at all times, and they really help force our eye. And really force it because of how the line work is also pushing our eye that way.
It's kind of fun to play with what happens when you remove all of those visual cues in space. And so the abstract thought sequence became sort of a fun sequence where we kind of really got to play with perspective and just kind of trick your eye in a way. When there's no visual cues to tell you that there's anything around you, you're in this room where there's no corners even, everything is just blown out, it's just pure white light. You start thinking like, I know there's a wall here somewhere, but is it right in front of me, or is it like 1,000 feet away? You can't even tell, and it's really disorienting. And it's until all these things are removed where you realize you rely on these things every day, and we rely on them for storytelling, but what happens when you just remove it all? And so we thought with abstract thought, we're going to just remove the background and all the visual cues that you start off with in the room and just really play with space.
It's pretty amazing that you can create an entire 3D world with just a few lines and shapes. In the next exercise, you'll have the opportunity to think more about space and perspective.
So now you're ready to start your background, but now you also have a good knowledge of linear perspective. I am going to share with you a few of the Pixar backgrounds and show you that when you look at it very closely, you will find that there is linear perspective in all of these settings. The first one is WALL-E. In this scene, you will see that it is a one-point perspective. It all converges to that one point. Next up is the diner in Cars. You'll see that the lines above the horizon line even converge to that one point, which creates the illusion of depth. This background is from Monsters, Inc., and you'll see that the vanishing point, that one point, does not need to be right in the middle. In this case, it's to the right side. This background is from the movie Ratatouille. It is difficult to find the vanishing point here because it is beyond the actual frame. When it's an interior setting, like an indoor setting, it's awfully hard to find that vanishing point. But here I will show you that it is outside of the window from the movie Up. Last example I want to share with you is from the movie Inside Out. Again, it's an inside room, but as you see here, the vanishing point is outside of the window. Now's your chance to create your own setting for your character. It can be an outdoor or indoor background. You have a few options. You can draw your landscape in your sketchbook and use any art supplies you want to color it. Or you can go on Seesaw and you will see that I provided you with two templates, a one-point perspective drawing and an interior drawing for you to use. If you use one of these two templates, my recommendation is to import these images into an art app so you can use the tools there, such as Art Studio or Sketchbook app. If you drew your background in your sketchbook, you can cut out your character and glue it or paste it on over wherever you want within that setting. I'm going to share with you how I did mine. I drew it using my indoor template on an art app called Procreate. Here's a time lapse. Enjoy! Once you're done with your background, go to the Green Screen by Doing app, click on Create New Project on the top right-hand corner, and then you're all set to add your images. The plus signs in the bottom right-hand corner are the key. I'm going to start with my character. I'm going to click on the top plus sign and you'll see I can add moments, videos, and photo. I'm looking for art where I have a green background. Once I click on that image, he pops right up and I can adjust him accordingly. If you didn't make a green background, it's okay. All you have to do is click on the mask icon at the bottom right-hand corner and you will see the eraser tool by the magic wand. I'm now going to click on the middle plus sign and that's where I place my background. So I go to recent because I just finished it and there you see it pops right up and I'm adjusting it accordingly with 2 fingers. I just noticed that Art is a little bit too big for his room, so I click on him on that layer and then with my 2 fingers I make him a little bit smaller so he fits in his robot pad. I see that my signature is right by him, so I am using the eraser tool and erasing my signature so it doesn't show up on his carpet. Once you're done with the 2 layers showing your character and your background that you created, on the top you will see image. I would click on that and then it'll say capture image. Click on that green button. The cool thing about Doink is that there is a 3rd layer. You could add something even more. I know I have video of outer space and I'm just going to include it at that bottom layer. The reason that it works is because when I colored in the windows, I need to make sure that I would use green because using the Doink app, it will cancel that color out. If you are adding video though, make sure it's no more than, I would say, 15 seconds. You don't want to take up too much memory with long video footage. I am dragging my photos so it lasts just as long as the video that I added of outer space. I'm sharing this with you because I thought it would be a fun little addition, but again, if you just want to share the image of your character with its background, that's good too. I'm now happy with my completed image and also the captured video. You'll see during this time lapse that what I'm doing is I am saving it to my iPad so I have both the photo and the image, and then when I get to the photo gallery I am just going to crop it so that the space on the sides don't show. And there you have it, my picture of Art in his setting. I think he would be a perfect character for a sequel to WALL-E. What do you guys think? Well, that about wraps it up for this Art of Pixar unit. We definitely had a blast teaching you all, and we hope that you had just as much fun learning about it. Now, if you have any questions at all, definitely ask your art teacher. They might be watching this with you right now, but if you're watching this on your own, contact them on Seesaw. Now, as this guy would say, We're going to leave you with his famous quote, but we're going to change one of the words. To the arts and beyond! Woohoo!